Picture this, 200 miles from the nearest coastline. No land in any direction, just gray, endless, merciless ocean, stretching out as far as the eye can see in every direction. No boats, no shore, nothing. And right there, rising out of the fog like something that was never meant to exist, a prison. Not your typical prison. No walls with razor wire. No perimeter fence you could maybe dig under. This is Neptune Max, a decommissioned oil rig that someone, somewhere, decided would make the perfect place to put people they never wanted found again. Rust-streaked towers, guard posts every 20 feet, spotlights cutting through the fog even in broad daylight. The ocean iced the wall, and the ocean doesn't negotiate. Now we're inside a military-grade transport helicopter. Cramped, metal benches, 2 armed escorts sitting like statues, and between them, 1 prisoner, hands chained to the floor, orange jumpsuit, head up. This is Marcus Vael, late 30s, lean. The kind of quiet that doesn't come from being shy. It comes from being dangerous and knowing it. His eyes are the first thing you notice. Deep set, brown, absolutely still. While every other person in that helicopter is tense, Marcus looks like a man on a commute. Except he's not relaxing. He's counting. Through the porthole window, Neptune Max is getting bigger, and Marcus is tracking everything. The approach angle, the landing pad position, which guards are rotating where below. His brain is already working, already mapping, already planning something he hasn't told anyone about yet. Then a guard notices, and before Marcus can log one more detail, a black canvas hood is shoved over his head. Hard, fast, sudden darkness. But here's the thing about Marcus Vael. The hood doesn't stop him, because everything he needed to see, he already saw. The hood comes off inside the intake processing hall. And if the outside of Neptune Max was designed to intimidate, the inside finishes the job. Fluorescent lights so harsh they feel like an interrogation. Damp concrete walls stained with salt and years of misery. A low ceiling that makes you feel like the building itself is pressing down on you. And underneath it all, that sound. A low, constant hum. The ocean. Pressing against the steel walls. From every direction. Always there. Always reminding you where you are. Marcus stands at the intake counter. The hood's off. He's blinking in the harsh light. And within about 2 seconds, that calm, analytical look is already back. He's already reading the room, counting exits, noting positions. The cuffs come off. His wrists are red from the restraints. He flexes his fingers slowly, deliberately, like a surgeon checking his hands before an operation. He's not alone coming in. 3 other new inmates stand in the processing line beside him. And behind the bars, the existing population is watching, not jeering, not calling out, just watching, in total, eerie silence. And that silence? That's the first thing that gets to Marcus, because hardened criminals don't go quiet unless something has taught them to. Something has broken that instinct out of them. Whatever this place does to people, it works fast. Then comes C.O. Briggs, mid-40s, stocky, ruddy face, and this smile, this thin, permanent smile that sits on his face like a prop, like something he put on in the morning and forgot to take off. He introduces himself as Marcus's corrections officer, and he's chatty, friendly even, which in a place like this is somehow the most unsettling thing so far. Briggs leads Marcus down a long corridor, descending slightly, pipes running overhead, condensation on the walls, that hum getting louder the lower they go. Briggs talks the whole way, too casually, too comfortably, about how most new inmates spend their first week just listening to the ocean. Gets in your head, he says. Some guys never really come back from that. Marcus says absolutely nothing. He's counting steps, memorizing every turn, and then they pass it. A sealed bulkhead door, industrial gray, but across it, a thick yellow hazard stripe. No label, no number, multiple heavy locks. It looks different from every other door in this corridor. Everything else here has a purpose you can name. This door doesn't. Marcus's body doesn't
Vael,
break stride.
we need to talk.
But his eyes cut
What about?
sideways.
You know
just
what?
for a second.
Don't push
just
it.
long enough.
I hear you.
And Briggs catches
Good.
it.
Keep it that way.
That smile drops. Just a fraction. Just enough. He doesn't explain. Doesn't threaten. Doesn't make a speech. He just says one word. Don't. That's it. One word. And somehow that one word carries more weight than a locked door ever could. Cell block D is at the lower level of the rig. Low ceilings. Metal grate flooring. And when you stand on that floor, you can hear the ocean beneath your feet, through the grates, like standing on the surface of something alive. Marcus is shown his cell. It's exactly what you'd expect, and somehow still worse. One bunk. A steel toilet. A single porthole window barely bigger than a dinner plate, showing nothing but gray churning ocean. And already inside, lying on the lower bunk without moving, an older man, watching Marcus with tired, knowing eyes. Marcus looks at that porthole, at the gray ocean framed in scratched glass. The view that offers you just enough of the outside world to remind you that you're not part of it anymore. Next morning, the general yard. An enclosed deck with chain link above and ocean far below through the gaps in the railing. Gray sky. Gray jumpsuits. Gray faces. Inmates spread across the space in tight, territorial clusters. Nobody mixing outside their group. The silence of the intake hall has followed out here. And this is where Marcus begins to see things. First, a wiry man alone near a ventilation unit on the far wall. Scar across his left cheek. Grease-stained hands. His ear literally pressed against the metal casing of the vent. Eyes closed. Listening to something moving through the pipes. Nobody talks to him. Nobody sits near him. This is Patch. And the fact that he's more interested in what's inside those pipes than in what's happening in this yard tells Marcus something important. Then, sitting on a steel bench like he was poured there and solidified, a man so physically imposing he looks like a different species. Shaved head, dark skin, face completely blank. 3 inmates nearby are going out of their way to put distance between themselves and him. Not out of disrespect, out of raw, instinctive self-preservation. This is Doku, and whatever he did to earn that kind of space in a yard full of dangerous men, nobody's asking. Near the far railing, alone, a woman, sharp features, black hair pulled tight, arms folded, back to the wall, and her eyes are never still. Moving from face to face to face across the yard, systematically, like she's running a threat assessment on every single person out here. Continuously. This is Zara, and she has already clocked Marcus before he's finished looking at her.
To our plan. We move at dusk. No mistakes. Trust me, and we all
In the middle of
walk
the yard,
free.
a man who looks almost out of place in a different way. Slim, wavy brown hair. A smile that could sell you anything. He's got a small group around him, and he's performing, gesturing. This is the Frenchman. Nobody knows his real name. Nobody knows his real crime. And that's exactly how he likes it. Marcus stands in the middle of the yard and takes all 4 of them in, Not obviously. Not in a way anyone would notice. But you can see it. The very slight shifting of his gaze from person to person. He's not just observing. He's selecting. Then a younger inmate edges up to him. Thin. Nervous. Eyes that keep darting sideways like he's breaking a rule just by standing here. He leans in and speaks quietly. Fast, urgent, barely above a whisper. Keep your head down. Don't ask about transfers. Don't ask why guys disappear. And then the most specific warning. Whatever you do not request a meeting with a warden. Before Marcus can ask a single follow-up question, an alarm bell cuts through the yard like a blade. Loud, sudden, industrial. And the reaction is immediate. Every inmate moves, fast, too fast, with a practiced, almost panicked efficiency that tells you this bell has consequences they've already learned about the hard way. In under 30 seconds, the yard is empty, except for Marcus. Standing alone in the vast empty space, the ocean visible on all sides far below, the chain-link ceiling above. And Briggs reappears at the hatch. That smile, that casual wave, like nothing unusual just happened. You'll learn the rhythms, Briggs says. Evening lockdown. The cell doors grind shut along the block like a mechanical jaw closing. The lights shift to a dim red. The ocean keeps humming. Marcus sits on the edge of the upper bunk. Orin, the older man, is below. Neither of them speaks for a while. This is the sound of two men measuring each other in the dark. Then Orin speaks, without turning, without looking up. Just talks to the underside of Marcus's bunk like he's said versions of this to a dozen men before. He clocks Marcus immediately. Special ops. He can tell by the way he arrived, the way he was counting things. And then he says something that lands like a door closing. He's watched 11 men try to figure this place out. 11. And they all had the same flaw in their thinking. They thought the problem was the walls, the guards, the locks, the security. But the real problem? The water. The ocean itself. You can beat every
Marcus?
single guard.
I've been in
in
this cell a
rig.
long time. Time teaches you things, like how to accept your fate. I accepted mine years ago.
We have to try again.
Try what? The water's the real problem.
We can get past it.
No, I've tried. We all have.
The path ahead is irreversible, Marcus.
I understand the consequences. We proceed.
3 a.m. The block is dead silent. Red light. Ocean hum. Marcus is at the porthole window, standing, face close to the glass, looking down at the lower decks. He can't sleep. His mind won't let him. And then movement. Down on a platform far below, barely visible through the structure of the rig. 2 guards in black uniforms. And between them, a prisoner. Gray jumpsuit. Head down. They're moving toward the oceanside railing. And the prisoner isn't fighting. Isn't struggling. Isn't trying anything at all. He's walking with the resignation of someone who already knows how this ends. Marcus presses his face harder against the porthole, trying to see. His reflection overlaid on the scene below. His own face staring back at him from the dark glass as he watches something terrible happening at the edge of the water. The guards step back. The prisoner reaches the railing, and then nothing. Just 2 guards walking away. The railing empty. The black ocean beyond unchanged. No commotion. No alarm. No announcement. The rig absorbs it and moves on like it never happened. Like it's happened before. Many times before. Marcus pulls back from the porthole slowly, and something in his face is different now. The calculation is still there, but underneath it, something harder has moved in. A shift. A decision. You can see it in the way his hands grip the bunk frame. the way his jaw sets. He sits upright in the dark, Orin sleeping below, the red light a thin line across his chest.
I can't keep pretending. The truth is coming, and I have to face it.
And the man who arrived on this rig 12 hours ago, watchful, patient, already planning, that man has now become something more focused, more dangerous. Because now he has a reason that goes beyond himself. His lips move quietly in the dark, almost to himself. 10 years to plan. I've got less than that. And we pull back, out through the porthole, out past the rig, rising up into the night sky, the camera climbing until Neptune Max is just a cluster of lights in an infinite black ocean. Tiny, isolated, 200 miles from everything. But inside that tiny lit cluster of steel, a man is awake. And somewhere behind a yellow striped door that nobody's allowed to ask about, something is being hidden. Something that someone very powerful has gone to extraordinary lengths to keep beneath the water. Marcus Vael lies back down, eyes open, staring at the ceiling, still as stone. But this stillness is different from the stillness of a man waiting. This is the stillness of a man who has just begun. And the last image we get, filling the screen, is just his eye, in near total darkness. A single point of red light reflected in his pupil, unblinking, alive. And that is episode 1 of Deep Lock. In just 10 minutes, we've been introduced to Neptune Max, possibly the most inescapable prison ever conceived. We've met Marcus Vael, a man who arrived already planning and left his cell that night with something to fight for beyond just himself. We've caught our first glimpses of the crew he doesn't know he's going to need yet. And we've seen, with our own eyes, exactly what this prison does with the people it decides are inconvenient. The question isn't whether Marcus can escape. The question is, what is behind that yellow door? Who ordered that prisoner thrown into the ocean? And how many others have gone the same way? Episode 2 is called The Roster. And that's where Marcus begins making his moves. If you want to see that recap, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. And if you're already hooked on Deep Lock, share this with someone who needs a new obsession. I'll see you in episode 2.